Juliana Coles. Welcome to the imperfect life of a sketchbook. You've seen a few of my videos where I show you some of my favorite books on, how do I keep a visual journal, how do I use a blank book, or how do I use a sketchbook. But today I'm going to talk to you specifically about sketchbooks, especially since the last time I came to you talking to you about sketchbooks. I might have been on the fence a little bit about how I myself used sketchbooks, and I may have been showing you some books that could have qualified for, maybe a mixed media sketchbook or mixed media sketching or a visual journal, that there wasn't a hard line. And I don't know that today there's a hard line, but my practice has certainly changed since I first brought you this workshops. And I teach different workshops: Field Notes, Extreme Sketching 101. And in starting that workshop and starting teaching you guys, I developed my own practice, which has changed my artwork incredibly in the past 2 years. I would say this is the first one I started with, and I'm not going to say too much to you about this one, other than I do have a couple more sketches in it. It's got nice thick paper in here. It can be like drawing paper, watercolor paper, printmaking paper. They all kind of have a similar tooth. Size, I like this cover. And this is the one I feel is most famous, and probably no one's even heard of it. But this, I was working on these two at the same time. Your size is going to completely influence how you work in it. And this one had a paper cover, and I hated that. It made me really mad, and I eventually had to tape it up and do all kinds of things with it. But the paper's fine for drawing. That my markers didn't go through, and I really love the size. I tend to work a 2-page spread. I don't just work a page and a page, and then I take notes back and forth, and I change the direction. But everything's ideas. Oh, and also in this one I did do some things where to add to my sketching practice, once a week I go to a figure drawing session and do some various drawings there. Sometimes I work in sketchbooks, blank paper, sometimes I paint. Sometimes I don't like what I do and I cut them up, but I like parts and I put them back in here. So this book I just recently finished, and to me it was really important. I've never worked this way before in my life, and I wouldn't have found out that I would have worked this way if I didn't start the class and start sketching. And we all know art saves lives, and you all know that I say, visual journaling, saving lives, 1 page at a time. And that's pretty much what this class and this book and the sketchbook did for me. My friend Cher, she's the one who helped me with my classes and my videos, was commenting to me that class that I did, it was so long, it kept going. Excuse me, allergies. But it did save my life. My family was dying, my cat Petey died, a relationship was dying. There was a lot of grief and loss in my life. This book documents it all. Reading through this, looking through this, it's like it's someone else's book. I pour over and over this again and again. Wow, whoa, that was so smart. And I use all of this, all the words, the things I say in here, I use it in my art. So it's really, this is my constant companion. And the way that I worked in this book, for my students, I talk about in the workshop the journal mobile unit and how we carry our stuff around, whether you're just going to your backyard or flying on a plane, how are we going to collect our supplies. So after teaching that class, I had my own little way of working, because I used to work with this one, color. I would have this big box of markers, rubber stamp letters. It's like visual journaling, and it was a lot of stuff to take with me. It was overwhelming. And so when I moved on to this book, that was it. I had this book and this little pouch, and in my little pouch is my little iPod shuffle with, oh, these are really great. You'll love these. Maybe you can close up on these. My little pirate, because I'm an art pirate. So my little headsets have little pirate things in it. So I've got my music, And I just have some, I don't even have one in here. I just have some kind of crappy big pen. I'll find one later. But usually there's a pen in here. This fits in here. And I would take that everywhere. This fit in my purse. I drew all the time in the car, doctor's office, if I was having lunch, dinner, wherever I went. If I was talking to my boyfriend, I was sketching in this one. But this one's finished. And I was sort of sad, so I had to find one of my sketchbooks to replace in that back. So this is the one that I'm using now. It's kind of cute. It's square. It does, in fact, fit in my bag. It has this little closure thing, which I like a lot. I like that the pages are rounded. And I usually, almost all my books, I have notes and things at the front. And this book, I don't really like it. I'm not very happy with it, but I am intrigued. I recognize that what I'm doing here and what I was doing in the last one that I love is different. I don't know if I'm less attached to working in a book, because you see, I just have writing. This is not, most of my books I think are sort of like finished books or standalone, and maybe I'm just from visual journaling used to people looking at my books, and now I'm getting more to, it's just for me, it's just my practice. And these go back and forth, up and down. I'm having to work in this square. A lot of these I am just working one page and then one page instead of my usual 2-page spread. Oh, this one is in color, and I did this at the airport out the window. So when I travel, I'm sketching all the time, writing down things I think, things I hear other people say. And the steward guy was like, "Oh my God, did you just draw that?" And he thought it was great, really exciting. So I don't love this book, but I do love, I have a certain amount of, more freedom than I've had before. The square space is really hard for me to work in. And I don't know, I can't fit a lot in it, and I kind of don't care. I just sketch and move on. So I do feel that this book is really more about the practice than what I'm doing or saying. And this is kind of nice, this little thing in here. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'll let you know again. I'll come back next year and let you know what happened to this book. So let's look at some other books. I think before I showed some weird things, and I think after that class I almost decided, oh, I've got all these sketchbooks, I'm never going to use them, and I almost threw them out. And then when I started this practice, I realized I'm a sketcher after all. I got to keep all my sketchbooks. I've got a lot of books just in general that I use for the visual drawing practice, for everything. I can't get rid of anything. So I did take some and move them on, but I never need to buy a new book. And I've kind of got them organized here for myself from largest to smallest. This guy.
Let me pull back.
This, it's like this ring binding here, and it says on the paper, I don't know, Wyckoff Associates, and so it's like this graph paper, but it's really cool graph paper, and I don't use this as a book, mainly because it's big. I suppose I could probably, after making this video and telling you guys all the things I don't do, will inspire me to develop a new practice, artistic sketching, etc. I've kind of been on hold for a little while. If you guys know, I knocked my teeth out, and so I've had a lot of trauma. So I'm just now getting back to my art, to my life, to wearing makeup and stuff, so jewelry, whatever. It's been a long time. So who knows what's going to happen next? But I love this paper, and I do take this with me to my drawing group, and I've done drawings on it, and they've become actual drawings that I put in my art shows. They were so great on this cool paper. So, and I've got a lot of it. I like it. So don't be afraid to try different kinds of paper or thinner paper. You just can't work, as thick or maybe as wet. You don't necessarily have to work in a sketchbook format like that one has the rings. I can open stuff and take it out. I love this book. It's beautiful. My stepmother, who died last year or thereabouts, gave this to me, and I remember at the time thinking, it's one of those Italian, I don't know, the binding's so beautiful, the paper's really pretty, and it's got this nice texture and the deckled edge, and I thought it was, you guys are probably like, it's too nice for me, like you're going to use it as a sketchbook, you just need a crappy book. And I know that I did something in here, and I was really pissed. Where's that little sketch? I did this, and I can't remember what materials I was using, but I didn't like this paper because it was just balling up. It was shredding. It was balling up, and I swear to God, I think she probably paid $200 for this book, and I feel like she really got ripped off. It's just, one of those things that, nobody knows better till you use it. So that's something, like, you're not going to know with a book until you get started, till you get working on it, till you experiment with your materials, see what works best in it. And two, like, some of my sketchbooks, I mean, that other one, I was working in it for maybe 6 months before I even had a sense of it. I'd pick it up, put it down, and then, it took a long time before it got in that bag. It never left that bag. It stayed in my purse, and I don't know, I love that book. So these bigger ones, I don't know, they're a little, the beautiful ones are so nice to have, but they're not necessarily practical. And a dear friend gave this to me, God, years ago, early 90s, mid 90s, something like that. And it was handmade by somebody. It's leather cover, leather, wrapped on this stick here. And then it kind of goes like this. I suppose I could use it. I think I ended up using it like this, and the paper is sort of this textured, I don't know if it's charcoal kind of drawing paper, but I'll try it again, because at the time, I don't even know, I'm telling you, this stuff is so long ago, these little drawings and sketches I did in here, and maybe I was turning it into a visual journal. I'll give it another chance, I guess, but it is hard to work in it, because the bindings here, it doesn't lay flat. And especially, if I'm sitting on a park bench or something, it's just not that convenient. My boyfriend and I go out sketching a lot, and what he likes to do is he takes he's also a writer, and he takes his journal writing books. When he's done with them, he goes back through them, opens them up, and sketches over it. So his sketches always have all this cool writing behind. I wish I had it to show you. It's super cool. But so we typically go out, if we're talking, we'll pull our sketchbooks out and start drawing. Draw each other. Draw our cups of water, wine, whatever. So I said I don't buy any sketchbooks, but I did buy this one. I just got, this is one of those little moleskines, or moleskine, however you say it. And it's got that little thing. It's cool. I have to say, their particular brand, not that great. It stretches out and comes undone, so it's not all that hot. And I got this. I'm going to go to San Francisco next month. And I got this. It's got like a San Francisco map. It's got different things about San Francisco that fold out. Places to sketch, make notes. So it's like a cool notebook sketchbook that I'm really excited to use. This is something you could make for yourself in the size that you want to fit in the bag that you like, as prep for any trip you were going on. Big trip, little trip, your backyard, you can prep your sketchbooks any way you want. This was another one of those moleskines that I had, and I had to tie the thing here, but I used this on my trip in India, in Egypt. And so this is a really fun book, but really great notes, sketches. And so this is my old sketching style, and that I guess I would have to have called myself a mixed media sketcher. I still do some of that, but not so much anymore. I'm a little bit more in a hurry and want to save, I guess, my work for my paintings. You only have so much energy, but here's one of my sketches of who's that guy, the Sphinx.
The Sphinx.
And then I just did markers around it, because that's, I don't know, that's what I always like to do, is just add more stuff to it and fill it up. So So my style has definitely changed. I'd love to go back to India too, and do some sketchings now that I have this sense of my new way of working. When I went on these amazing trips, I didn't even have the ability then to do what I do now. And